Hello, everyone. Thank you for those of you that are coming in early. Hey, Chef Brooklyn. It says, um, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I always like seeing you on the timeline. I don't know why I feel like I'm going to be covered up today. I guess where the camera is situated. Um, all right, but yeah, thank you, Chef Brooklyn, and thank you for your support as always. Let me move this. Like my camera is a little bit lower than it normally is. All right, so thank you for joining me. This is going to be very much laid back. I just want to answer some questions. I haven't gone live in a long time, so I want to answer some questions because I know there's been a lot going on in the housing market lately. So go ahead and put your comments in the chat, and I will try to get to as many as I can in this hour. I do have memberships now, and they're only $2.99 a month, so $3. And what I'm trying to do with memberships is give y'all a little bit more exclusivity, I guess. So before I go live, and I plan on going live 2 times a month, like members of the channel can go live with me by themselves first, and then I'll go live with the rest of the group. It didn't work that well today, to be honest with you, but I'm going to try it again. But yeah, so you have the option of joining this channel, and it's $2.99 a month. You also will get a special icon by your name, and you'll also get like special emojis that you could put like in your comments or in the chat that other people cannot get. So if you want to, donate to the channel, support the channel, it's $3 a month, and you'll get exclusive things throughout the month. Okay, thank you so much. All right, let me go up to the first person here. It says issues to discuss. I'm having the worst time with, what is she saying? I'm having the worst time. I'm going to put it up here. It's going to cover my face for a minute. I'm having the worst experience with realtors in Florida. They don't work certain areas. They do not know what the things I have learned from your channel. And getting a showing other than with whom you, started, forget about it. I'm at the point when I want to act as my own agent. I have to be missing something. What's wrong with the realtors I have contacted? I think my first question for you would be, what is your price point? Because that could be an issue. I'm going to put this back down. I would ask you what your price point is. And is that a price point that is easy to find in your area? Or is it a price point that's going to be difficult to find in your area? Because to be honest with you, a lot of agents, remember, they get paid based on, how expensive the house is or how easily they can find that house. So for example, say that you're looking in an area where the average price is $500,000, but you're approved for $300,000. That's going to be more difficult for them to find. Now, I feel like agents do one or two things. Either agents focus on a particular price point and they really focus really heavily on that, or some agents just focus on the book of business. So they don't really worry about the price point so much. They worry about like the lifetime value of that client, because you may sell your house later and you use them. You may refer them new business. So they're not really worried that much about the price point. But I would say, I would really want to know, you can put it in the comments, like what your price point is in relation to the homes that you're looking for. And is there a lot of inventory available in that price point? Because if they feel like it's difficult for you to find something, then you probably are going to have some difficulty finding an agent that's willing to go to 1 or 2 showings for homes that may or may not be available. Do you have, your down payment, your closing costs, everything like that? They're trying to look to see, okay, how difficult are you going to be as a client to find you a house? And every agent is different, and they'll approach it differently. But if you're a first-time home buyer, for example, if you're in a lower price point, or if you're like using down payment assistance or something, or USDA or something that they're not familiar with, then you want to find an agent that works with those clients specifically. Like when I was doing a business in Atlanta, I don't take that many one-on-one clients anymore, but I was like specifically talking about down payment assistance programs in Atlanta. And I become like the expert in down payment assistance. So when people came to me, even at lower price points, I was like, okay, that's, I'm going to help you out, because even to qualify for down payment assistance, you had to be at a certain price point. So I was ready and, willing to help those clients at any price point, but that's not everybody else's business. So one of the questions I say that you should ask as a first-time home buyer is, do you have experience working with clients at my price point, maybe with down payment assistance, maybe with, whatever else you're going through? Ask them if they have experience working with those types of clients and have they had success. Like, they should be able to tell you an example of, oh yeah, I closed somebody last week for $300,000. They were using down payment assistance. You need to get like an example from them that they've dealt with clients in that same price range or that same situation. For example, like VA clients, maybe you don't work with a lot of VA borrowers and you don't know how to do that. So you want to make sure that somebody has experience working with a client like yourself. That's my advice for that. And best of luck. Hopefully the market is getting better in Florida. Hello. Hey, Elle. Yours is short, so I should be able to put that on the screen. Okay, I just went down a whole bunch. Hold on one second. Hey, Elle, how are you? I don't know. I think there's something I'm doing wrong, but I feel like the whole screen is bigger, everything. Like, this is crazy. I'll fix it. Probably not today, though, because this is the highest the chair goes. No, the chair goes higher. Hold on a second. Okay, a little bit better. All right. Hey, Elle. Good to see you tonight. All right. Greetings from Southern California. Hi, Drew. How are you? I'm going down the list. In your shorts, and if you don't follow me on Instagram or follow me on my YouTube Shorts channel, I do have like little mini shorts. If you want little doses of Shahida real estate knowledge. You said no FHA. Are they not doing that anymore? So I was saying that a lot of sellers were choosing conventional over FHA. But what's happening in some markets is that, and that's when people are getting like a lot of offers. So they had a lot of choice, right? So if you get 10 offers, not all of those offers are going to be FHA. There's probably going to be some conventional offers in that group of offers. So, sellers had a choice. In a lot of areas now, especially with the interest rates going up like they did, they don't have as much choice. A lot of people aren't getting 10 offers, 20 offers. It was crazy, like 30 offers, right? Now people might be getting 1 or 2 or 3 offers. So they're much more likely to think about or consider an FHA offer. Let me tell you this, prior to the pandemic and prior to the seller's market and the low interest rates, they didn't even ask about FHA, to be honest with you. Like, they were just like, oh, how's the offer? It just started, where sellers were really asking about FHA when like the pandemic happened and everything was so competitive. Then they were really looking to say, okay, well, this is conventional. This is better than FHA. But the less demand that sellers have for their home, the more likely they're going to consider all offers. So that's my answer for that. It's not that they're not doing it. You may still get, some situations in some markets where there is, a lot of competition. So, it might still be what they'll consider, or they would prefer a conventional over FHA, but that's less likely as we go into a more balanced market. Hey, Christina Smallhorn, how are you? Hey, yes, thank you so much, Christina. I appreciate it. I don't know if I could add you to the thing. I don't know. I feel like maybe StreamYard has changed something because I don't do it often enough. All right. So here we go. Hey, Christina Smallhorn. Thank you. I appreciate it. And anybody that, especially like tiny homes, manufactured homes, all of that, Christina has a great channel for that information, just general real estate information. Thank you, Christina. All right. Let me go back up. All right, so we got that question out of the way. Hello, from Greensboro, North Carolina. Thank you. We're getting ready to purchase in Northeast, and as soon as I saw this alert, I clicked on the video. Thank you, Mrs. O. I appreciate it. Welcome. Thank you, Linda from Brooklyn. Okay, so somebody's up on it. DD Crypto 7. How do you believe the CPI numbers tomorrow will affect mortgage rate? So CPI stands for Consumer Price Index, right? So basically, they're trying to see, is inflation coming down? Is inflation coming down? Last month, it was up like 9% over last year. So that's not good. So they're looking for a number definitely lower than 9%. They're looking for inflation to be coming down. And so the Fed does not meet again until September. So the next time they'll do something with interest rates is September. However, I think if this inflation number is high, what it's going to say to the market is that and when I say high, it's going to be, if it's higher than 9% or close to 9%, it's basically going to say that inflation is still too high. It's too out of control. So in September, the Fed is going to have to be more aggressive with interest rates. And then the market probably, and I'm not predicting 100%, they may say, okay, well, if they have to be more aggressive, that may push us into a recession because they're going to have to increase interest rates more because what they've been doing hasn't been working so far. And so even though they don't meet until September, what the market will do, and this is true of just in general, they'll adjust their numbers and their predictions based on what they think the Fed is going to have to do in September. So if that number is bad, I think the assumption is going to be that the Fed has to be more aggressive with interest rates and that it may go higher, and that might actually put lower mortgage rates a little bit, but don't count me on this. I'm just going by what happened before, right? If there's bad news about the economy, generally people go into bonds. And I did a video, I tried to explain it the best I could. I did a video about where mortgage rates are headed. If you look at that video, I try to explain where I think, not what I think, but how it kind of works, right? How different things in the economy will affect the interest rate. And it's really based a lot on the 10-year yield. The 10-year yield is a big factor in mortgage rates. So watch that video, DD Crypto 7, but that's my guess. I will watch it tomorrow to see like what happens, and there'll be instant reaction. The numbers, the interest rate sheets that your mortgage lender gets go on throughout the day. So, it might go up, it might go down, they come out often. When everything's calm, they don't change that much. When things are volatile, up and down, whatever, then they change throughout the day. So just, be mindful of it. I'd be in communication with your lender, especially if you're having rate lock conversations. Watch that last video and watch it in its entirety, because I think a lot of you, not everybody, will watch like half of the video. And then at the end, I'm always putting like what you should do next and at the end. And one of the websites I wanted y'all to watch is they give you recommendations on mortgage locks, whether you should lock it or whether you should just let it float. And if they say that you should let it float, if that's their recommendation, they are predicting or forecasting that rates may go lower. So watch that video. It's called Mortgage Rates. That's the thumbnail of it. I did it 2 videos ago, but that gives you the breakdown of how you can kind of predict where interest rates are going. Thank you for that question. All right, let's go to this question. Chai Girl K. I'm in Austin, Texas. Austin was very, very hot this year. I signed a purchase agreement and put down earnest money. Is it too late to renegotiate the home price or cancel the agreement? All right, here's the thing. You're under contract, and probably not, I haven't seen your contract, but probably that contract says something along the lines of, if you terminate, we can keep your earnest money. That's the penalty that you face if you just terminate the contract. On the other end, the seller or the builder, they don't have much penalty, okay? But on your end as a buyer, that's what you probably signed, something to that effect. So if you cancel the agreement, one of your penalties could be that they're going to take your earnest money. But again, look at your agreement. You can ask to renegotiate anything, but will they agree? So if you're going to come to them, so say for example, you're under contract, but they're offering new people that go under contract with them $10,000 in closing costs, and they offered you nothing, okay? Then you can come back to them and say, I want you to match this, your new incentives, because I'm under contract. It's the same price. You're giving them $10,000 in closing costs. I'm not getting anything. They have some choices. They could say yes, or they could say no. But if they say no, are you you have to say, are you willing to walk away and leave your earnest money on the table? I did a video with an attorney about canceling your contract. So before you do that, and every state might be a little bit different, before you consider canceling your contract, have an attorney look at your contract to see what your rights are. That's what I would do. And I also would, if you feel like you can't afford an attorney or pay for an attorney, you're a real estate agent. Most real estate agents, the brokerage, have like preferred attorneys, where like if I wanted some free advice from an attorney, I could contact some of our preferred attorneys and they would answer my questions. So, either they can do, your agent can ask for you, or you can maybe get a discount on a consultation or something like that from one of your agent's attorneys. I would do that. So it's not too late, but will they, they have to agree to it. Like you are under contract where they signed and you signed agreeing to certain terms. So to change those terms, both sides have to come back and agree again. You can't make them, sell it to you for less, or, you can't make them do that. But if they feel like they're going to miss a sale, then it might be in their best interest to renegotiate with you. If they feel like they have other buyers that they could sell this home to, it's not in their best interest. They'll be like, okay, thanks, we're keeping your earnest money, next client. But it all depends on how well that builder is selling and how willing they are to work with you. But good question. All right, I'm hoping to buy a house in the next 6 to 8 months. What is your advice in the question of cash versus finance of a new car in the event my vehicle dies on me before then? Okay, so I did a video call, buyers, stop this now. And a big part of that is my husband told me the other day, I guess he was just looking at something. He said the average car payment is $1,000. New car payment is $1,000 a month. That is crazy, number one. That's a lot of money. So I would definitely focus. So basically, a lot of people, their car payments are stopping them from buying a house. And because these car payments are very, very high, and it impacts your debt to income ratio. So I would focus 100% on buying the house first, whether you gotta, go to AutoZone or, Advance and, fix that car yourself, pay, get it working, get it through until you buy that house. And then decide after you get the house, because what's going to happen is if you have a new car payment, it's probably, depending on how high the car payment is, it may adjust your debt to income ratio and what you can afford for a house. So I would definitely just use your car. It's working right now. God willing, it's going to work for the next 12 months. I would do that before I go get a new car. You need to secure your house, which is an appreciating asset, something that's going to appreciate over time, versus trying to secure a new car payment. If you can't pay like cash for it or whatever, I would just try to, keep that car working as long as possible, but prioritize your house before the car. Thank you for that question. Okay, let me see what this says, Skyline. I plan on buying a house. I'm 26. Good job, 26-year-old. Living in Illinois. My parents, who plan on moving to Illinois from Illinois to Texas, I plan on letting them stay with me until they find a house to hopefully keep profits. Any advice? I don't really understand this that much. I'm trying to let them read it again. I plan on buying a house. So my parents, who plan on moving from Illinois to Texas, I plan on letting them stay with me until they find a house, hopefully to keep the profits. Okay. I mean, sure. I guess you're going to be charging your parents to live with you and you'll be keeping some of that money. Why not? If they're willing to pay their child to stay with them, that's good. Keep the money, I guess, until they're ready to move to Texas. I think that's a good idea. I don't see a problem with that. Can you buy a house with a criminal background? Yes. Yeah. It's not like an apartment. Okay. So you're buying something. If there's a lender willing to lend you, and they probably are. I'm trying to think on applications, do they even ask about criminal background? I don't think they do. But yeah, I haven't had run into this. If you can qualify for a loan, you can get a house. It's probably easier to get a house than it is to like rent a place with a criminal background. So my answer to this is yes, you can. All righty. Issa, worst builder, delayed new construction, closing dates changed multiple times. I want to get out of the contract. My lawyer isn't helping me do so. What will you suggest? Okay, so I'm not a lawyer. So if a lawyer can't help me, I don't know if Shahida Hill can. But I guess my question would be, so you have the same thing I kind of told the other lady. Your penalty is more than likely going to be your earnest money. If you walk away and say, I don't want this house anymore, it's probably going to be your earnest money. If you put any like deposits or anything like that down, that would be impacted as well. If the lawyer is telling you you can't get out of your contract, then I would believe him or her. I would believe them and say, okay, if I go through with it, I'm going to have to just wait and I'm at their mercy. Or if I terminate it, this is my penalty. So, you have to make that decision for yourself. But if your lawyer's telling you you can't get out, I'm assuming they're telling you can't get out of it without losing something. And so I would go back to what your lawyer is saying. And if say it's some people, like say it's $5,000. Some people that's detrimental to. Some people are like, okay, 5,000 is better than like a lifetime of buying this house for 500,000, right? So kind of determine what you're willing to lose and walk away from. But I mean, the lawyer is looking at your contract, I'm sure. So they're trying to figure out any way you can get out of it. If they're telling you can't, you probably can't. The only other thing I would do is I would go to the builder directly and say that you want, this is being delayed a lot. I would like to terminate my contract and get my earnest money back. And you can, fill out a termination agreement that says buyer to get earnest money and see if they'll sign it. All they can say is no. Sometimes the builder might be ready to get rid of you too. Like I said, if they have other people that they know they can sell that house to, then, they may agree to give you your earnest money back, but you have to put it in front of them, right? You have to say, hey, I want to terminate. This has been a long time. I thought we would be closed by now. And in the termination paperwork, your lawyer can draft it up, or your agent maybe can, draft it from one of the, like, I don't know what state you're in, from one of the state contracts. And it could say terminate, but then in it, it could say buyer to retain earnest money or get refunded or to receive earnest money in full, and see if they'll sign it. That's probably what I would do. Thank you for that question. Okay, so I'm from Connecticut. The housing market is terrible. Will it get better soon? Now, the first time that the market has gotten better in general, right, is when interest rates went up. And so a lot of buyers got out of the market, but it really depends on price point. The lower price you are in your market. So if the average price of a home in your market is $500,000 and you're in the $300,000, there's probably a lot of people in that $300,000 that you're competing with still, even at the higher interest rates. So until more people get out of the market at your price point, that's going to still keep it's going to still keep more competitive. It's going to keep prices higher because, there's still a lot of people that want those homes, especially compared to what rent is. So it will get better, especially I know Connecticut probably doesn't start school until September. I would say that the interest rates were like our first time that the market got better for buyers, even though interest rates went up. So it's not really better. It just gave them another more of a chance. And then the second time is when school starts. That's what I think is going to be the next time, because a lot of people that have children that wanted to be, in their house by the time school started, they'll just be settled. If they bought a house, they'll be settled. If they haven't bought a house yet, they won't worry about it. A lot of people can't stand starting their children in one school and then having to take them out halfway and put them in another school. A lot of parents avoid that. So they would almost like stop the search for a house until they could, either go over Christmas break or over summer break. So that'll probably be your next time. But if you're in the market, just stay in the market and see what comes up. If there's some opportunities that might come up in the market, but over time, things will slow down, I think, across the country. Thank you so much. Tanisha caught alive. Been following me for years. I have been in this little YouTube game for years. Thank you so much, you guys. Yes, thank you. Oba. Please, everyone, like this live stream. I would come around more if y'all would like my live. If I can get, let me see how many people are on the screen. If I can get, before I get off the thing, 300 likes, I'll go live next week. We'll see. All right. Thank you for the reminder. All right. So Aaron Mann, we're looking to buy a single family house and would like to know if it would be better to wait. This is my thing with the market right now. To me, there's no rush, right? There's no rush to say, like, there was a rush almost to make sure you got one of those low interest rates. That's why people were willing to pay a little bit above appraised value to compete with all of these people. Like, they're in a good position now because they bought a house at a low interest rate. That payment was lower. Right now, you can't say that, oh, well, these are the, people will say, they'll compare these interest rates to like years ago when interest rates were 7%, 8%, and 15%. But you really can't compare it apples to apples because, inflation, what people were making back then, it's really based on salary, like what you're making and the price to live, right? So the price of a home went up so dramatically in the last 2 years, but salaries didn't go up. So if homes went up, and I don't have it in front of me, but say homes went up in value 20% in 2020, and then another 20% in 2021, did your salary go up 20% in 2020? And did your salary go up 20% in 2021? Probably not. So salaries didn't, because everything happened so quickly, salaries haven't kept up. Now, salaries have gone up, but not to the level that home prices have gone up. So the lower interest rates help people afford those higher priced homes. But right now, you got higher priced homes for the most part still, and you have higher interest rates. So it's like, okay, if I need a house, I'll go ahead and buy a house. Long term, you'll be fine, but there's no rush to buy a house, in my opinion. So it's like, buy it as your family needs it. So if your family is like, okay, we're buying a house, we want to get settled, because the house is more than just like, let me get the best deal, right? It's we need to be in a house. My kids need a yard. I want to be in this neighborhood. I don't want to be in an apartment. So if your family, if that's the time, then you're still looking for the best house, best neighborhood, and best deal. And if interest rates go down a little bit toward the fall, I think in the fall, at the minimum, you're going to have more opportunity, in my opinion, more opportunity in the market, because there's a lot of people that have their homes on the market that didn't sell them over the summer that still want to sell. That'll be more negotiable with you, because a lot of people listed their homes this summer thinking that they were going to get what their neighbors got last summer. So if their neighbor got 500,000, they were like, we're going to get 500,000, but their property is sitting there because now the person that bought your neighbor's house got it for 2.5% interest. So they bought it. It was good. Now the same, family, is coming, buying your $500,000 house, but now it's 5% or 6%. So their purchasing power. So they don't have as many buyers that can afford their house anymore. So I would say in the fall, you're going to have more opportunities. Now, are interest rates going to be a lot lower? I don't think so, but they'll probably still be in the fives. So you have to see, okay, what can I afford with, interest rates in the fives? But my last video, I did like buy a house with no money. Not that it's going to work for everybody, but you're going to find more people, sellers, that are willing to pay your closing costs. So I'm going to come in and say, okay, I need my closing costs paid. I'm using to buy down this rate. You can be a lot more creative, because the money that the other buyers were spending on paying above appraised value, putting all this extra money into the deal, you could possibly, use some of that money to buy down your rate, use some of the money that the seller is willing to give you now, because sellers weren't giving anything. Now sellers may be more willing to pay some of your closing costs because you don't have any competition. Like if you're making an offer on a house that has no other offers, you coming in with asking for closing costs. Don't be in the mindset of it's still a seller's market. If you have, even if it was a seller's market, if that person has no offers on their house and they want to sell it, you're by yourself. I wouldn't come in giving them full price. I wouldn't come in asking for nothing. And I'll say this, prior to the pandemic, I never made an offer that didn't include closing costs for my client. Never prior. The housing market was unprecedented, really, in the last 2 years. Every offer that I ever put in for a buyer included the seller paying some type of closing cost toward the buyer's closing. And sellers expected it. Like, it was something that was more expected in either a normal market or a buyer's market. All right. Thank you, everyone. Okay, I answered that question. Okay, I didn't see this one. Can I convince you, pretty please come on the live stream this Sunday? I tried to super chat, but it wasn't on the screen. Yeah, I think so. I will message you, Christina. Definitely. I will message you. I'm a second-time homeowner. Let me see. I'm a second-time homeowner and bought my home 2 months ago. Last month, I got a higher paying job. Will we be in a recession the next year and a half to where I can sell my home for a return? Okay. Anybody that's buying a house now, I've been saying, and I think a lot of people have been saying, plan on living in that house for 5 to 7 years at the minimum, because things may be a little bit iffy as far as, how much your home is going to go up in value every year. So with you only bought a home 2 months ago. That's basically, you're talking about flipping your house. Like, if you're trying to sell it next year, you're like, I'm going to flip it, basically. So most people, most economists, or I would say half and half, are predicting a recession. The reason we're technically in a recession, okay, because there's been two quarters like 3 months, so January through March, then April through June was 2 months of negative GDP, like gross domestic product. Like, people were doing less in the economy those 2 months. So technically we're in a recession right now. However, because the job market, everybody's saying there's never been a recession with our job market or unemployment so low. Like, there's a lot of jobs still available. So that's why inflation is still where it is. And we're not in a recession where we're really hurting, because, and I say, some people may be hurting, but a lot of people have jobs. So that's what's kind of holding the economy from not going into a deep recession. So I would say, if it was me, even though you have a higher paying job, because of the uncertainty, I would just be in the house that I'm in now. And then if there is an opportunity, so say we do get into recession and prices, dip a little bit lower, maybe that's when you buy a rental property or something like that. I don't think I would necessarily look to, sell my house and buy a new house and all of that. Like, to me, because you never know where interest rates are going to be. So interest rates, you might be in a recession, where interest rates going to be. So are you going to have that higher paying job? Because in recessions, people lose their jobs. So you're really trying to prepare for that. And in preparing for that, I don't think selling my house would be first on my list. If it was me, like, preparing for the recession is making sure you have some cash, because and I know a lot of people are doing videos about like this wealth transfer. If we get into a recession where prices drop a lot, people that are able to take advantage of it because they have money. Because most people in a recession don't have money because they're losing their jobs, they're having to pay for things. So the majority of people in a recession aren't able to like buy property or buy stuff. So like in 2008, when everything was crashing around us, people weren't buying, investors were buying property because they had cash. But a lot of like average people, they were just trying to hold on to their jobs and, pay their rent and all that kind of stuff. So you want to be prepared to have some cash if some opportunities do present themselves. And that's in the real estate market, that's in the stock market, both of those things. You should be, banking some of that extra money that you have from that new job. And you also should be possibly getting a new job. Like, so if there's so many jobs out here, if they get to a point where they're laying off people, go ahead and get you a second job now. Bank that money so you're ahead of the game. So if in next year they start with layoffs, right? You have a cushion that you've done from that second job because there's so many jobs available now. But good question. Somebody said, I know we had Don Frito Capital said, I'll help you in Florida with any price point. So you may want to look at his either channel or message him, because he will help you in Florida. You probably need to put what part of Florida you're in. Thank you, Kino. I appreciate it. Oh, okay. Miss O, you must be new to this channel, but I'm going to tell you what are some things that can make a contract fall through during the underwriting process. I have a video on the most common things that stop you from getting approved once you're in underwriting. So watch that video. But in my experience, I would say the main things are credit changes. So you're buying something, either you have that makes your credit bad, or it makes your debt to income ratio higher than it was. Like you're charging something. You go out and buy a car. You charge like your furniture. You do things like that. You miss some payments on your bill. So the biggest way to drop your credit score is to miss a payment. Like those 30-day lates, those 60-day lates, they will drop your credit score dramatically. And so if you're in like the buying process and you forget to pay a bill or something like that, and then your credit score changes, that could change. Any job changes will stop the process. IRS debt that the lender doesn't know about ahead of time, because a lot of times when you're doing pre-approval, they may not ask for your full tax return, right? But they'll do a tax transcript. So they'll go to the IRS and kind of connect directly to the IRS, and they'll look at like your last few years. And so say that the like 2021, it said that you owed $2,000 to the IRS. They're going to ask you in underwriting, show us where you paid that $2,000. And if you don't have proof that you paid that $2,000, they're like, okay, are you on a payment plan? But then that gets factored into your debt to income ratio. So things that aren't disclosed up front often come to light during the underwriting process. Like before, you just put on your application, you have a job at this place. But guess what? Now during underwriting, they're calling that job and they're saying, well, Susie says she's moving to Texas. She said that she's a remote worker. And then the HR department's like, no, she's not a remote worker. She just works from home like 2 days a week, right? So that could stop you from getting approved. So all of those things, I know we have in our Facebook group, we have a couple that the wife just got laid off, and that's stopping them from being approved. And she has to basically get a new job, a salary job, within like 3 weeks, or they're not approved for the house. So, employment changes, all of that does impact underwriting. But I did a full video on the most common things that happen that stop people from getting approved after they're in underwriting. Thank you guys. Seattle, Washington. What's Christina's channel? It's just her name, Christina Smallhorn. Christina Smallhorn is her channel. All right. Why are older homes worth as much or more than newer homes? Okay, so it depends. Okay, majority of, and I have this right here. The number one thing that's like a home's value is location. Okay, so a lot of times that location of that home, it could be like in a really good neighborhood, a really good school system. That's going to be a big part of the home value. And so that's going to bring up the price of that house, even though it may be older. Okay. And then you have newer homes that are much more expensive to build, right? So that's what makes these new construction homes more expensive. But you could have an older home in a really good neighborhood, and it's just as expensive as, some of the new construction homes. And probably it's on a bigger lot. Like they don't build the same way they built back in the day. Like depending on where you live, especially if you're not like in the north, everything's kind of close together. But if you're in like more of the suburbs, not like older homes, they put them on like lots of land, like, bigger plots of land. Now a builder will come in, they'll buy the land, and they'll just like put a house. So, the land may be more valuable, that lot may be more valuable. So all of those things are factored in when you're looking at older homes. So don't just assume because the home is older, right, that it's not worth as much. And then the condition of that house, a lot of times at some point that house got renovated, especially if it's like 50 years old, 60 years old. Most main components of your home last like 10 years to 20 years. So you could assume that, at a certain point that roof got replaced. They have new appliances, probably a new HVAC system, probably a new water heater system. So a lot of things have gotten replaced or renovated in that older house through that person's ownership as well. Okay. For the most part, usually. Richmond, after you bought a house, how quickly can you refinance? Pretty much, and I've said this before, I think it depends on lender, but however, as long as you own the house, so like if you close today, it's going to take a minute for the courthouse wherever you live to transfer that title and record that title or deed with your city or your county. Once that's recorded, and different lenders have said different things, but pretty much you can start refinancing then. Like you can refinance 30 days out, as soon as it's recorded and you own the house. It may take a minute for you to be like make that first payment, or for that mortgage company to know that you are with them, that mortgage servicer, because usually what happens after you close, that whoever you close with probably will sell your loan to a different mortgage servicer. So a lot of those things are happening right at closing. So it may take like 30 days, 60 days or something like that for everything kind of to settle down, and who your mortgage servicer is, because when you refinance, that new mortgage company has to pay off the old mortgage company. So they want to know exactly who has your mortgage. So that takes a minute. But just know this. I know a lot of people are saying, well, just get this 6% and you just refinance. You don't know for sure what interest rates are going to be when it's time for you to refinance. You can't just assume that it could be 5 years, 6 years before interest rates make sense for you to refinance. So I would say if you are only buying a house because, I'm going to refinance it in a year, and so I can make it through this 1 year at 6%, but then I'll be able to really afford it once I refinance, make sure that you can afford the house at the current interest rate that you're getting. Because I know a lot of people are doing adjustable rate mortgages. I did a video on that. They're doing these mortgages saying, well, I'll just refinance. Number one, if you don't have a job, it's going to be harder for you to refinance, because the new mortgage company is going to try to make sure that you have income to pay the mortgage, right? So, and this happened in the housing crisis. You cannot refinance. Say if we have a recession and you lost your job, it's going to be more difficult for you to refinance. If interest rates haven't dropped significantly, it may not make sense for you to refinance. So, right now, when people are at a 3% interest rate and we're at say 5.5 or 5.7, 5.75, it doesn't make sense for you to refinance. You want to keep that lower interest rate. So you just want to make sure, I think if you're buying a house now at whatever this interest rate is, make sure you can afford it. And then, hope, but don't depend on refinancing later. And just know that refinancing comes with fees. So if you are doing so say you're doing a 30-year mortgage and then you're going to refinance it, and you had the mortgage for like a year, you're basically, most people go back to a 30-year mortgage. So you're going back to a 30-year mortgage and starting that over again. You can refinance into a 15-year mortgage. A lot of people did that when interest rates were dropping, because interest rates dropped so dramatically that, a lot of people refinanced over the last 2 years that had mortgages. So the last statistic I looked at, it said that it only makes sense for like 5% of mortgages in America to refinance. Like 95% of the mortgages right now, it would not make sense for them to refinance their loan to a higher interest rate. Thank you, Truth Serum. I'm closing September 7th in Texas. Thank you so much. Do you really need a realtor after you already are under contract in new construction? I think you need a realtor in new construction, yes. And I have plenty of stories where I've been like helpful in the new construction process with clients. Now, is it too late? That's the question you should ask. It's probably too late for you to add an agent after you've already signed a contract saying you don't have an agent. So, but I've done several videos about having a new construction agent, because basically you have no representation. You're just by yourself. And the things that it's like, they're not going to do anything illegal to you, but there are certain things that they don't have to disclose to you, or they don't have to remind you of, or they don't have to do, because you're not their client. So where, my client, I would say, like, I've had, I'll give you one example. One of my clients who was like overseas when they bought their house, it was new construction. They said they wanted like, dark wood, mahogany, whatever, cabinets. And in their contract, it was mahogany cabinets, right? And so the agent comes to me and she says, hey, we only have white cabinets, so we're going to just put white cabinets in that house. And I said, well, hold up for a second. I said, no, I said, our contract says he's going to get mahogany cabinets, and that's what he wants, and that's what he's going to get. And so she comes back to me, well, gave me three choices. Number one, he could terminate and get his earnest money back. He can take these white cabinets, or he could wait and get on another lot. Okay, so and that lot wasn't going to be ready for 6 to 7 months, and he was coming back from overseas. So I had to get a lawyer involved at no cost to him. Got a lawyer involved, got headquarters involved, all of those things to get him these white cabinets. So I think sometimes when agents are talking to you and you don't know what your rights are, then she's going to say, you have three options: terminate, get your earnest money back, get these white cabinets, or move to another lot later that have those mahogany cabinets. So as an agent, number one, I was there because he wasn't there on site. And number two, I was advocating for him. Like by law, basically, we might have to go, the contract says either you agree with these new cabinets or we go to arbitration. No builder's going to go to arbitration with you over some cabinets. So he got those mahogany cabinets in his house. So those types of things. Another thing I've had a builder try to do was, there was one earnest money amount, right? And my clients had paid the earnest money with the builder. And then my clients were thinking about switching from the preferred lender to another lender. Okay. And then the builder said, well, if they're going to switch, mind you, contracts were signed, earnest money was submitted. The builder said, if you're going to switch lenders, we're going to require a higher earnest money deposit. You can't do that either. You can't say, oh, I'm going to give you one earnest money. At the beginning, they could have said that. If you use an outside lender, this is the price for earnest money. If you use this lender, this is the price. But you can't come back later and penalize them from using an outside lender. So those types of things, if you don't, like an agent is kind of like being able to pick up on those things that you may not be able to pick up on. So I think there's no cost to you. The seller or the builder pays your agent. So there's really just, there's only benefit to you of having an agent. They're not going to give you a discount because you don't have an agent. Usually the on-site agent just gets paid more because they don't have to split sometimes their commission with another agent, but they don't owe you anything as far as representation. So that's why I say you should have an agent. And I've done a video on that as well. Thank you. Say somebody's closing in Connecticut. Somebody else was talking about Connecticut earlier. We're closing on our first home in Connecticut on Thursday. I've learned so much from your videos. Thank you so much, Kimberly, and congratulations. All right, Sir Ashley, y'all. Sir Ashley's on this. Let me find sorry, I've been talking so much. I'm gonna go through more of these questions. I'm trying to find Sir Ashley's thing. He did a super chat. Oh, why can't I find you, Sir Ashley? Thank you, Sir Ashley, for all you do. Once I find you, there you go. Sir Ashley. So real estate advisor Sir Ashley is in North Carolina. If you are not familiar with Sir Ashley's channel, you need to check it out. He doesn't like to admit it, but he's a lawyer turned real estate agent. So, that's what I'm talking about. You got to have somebody that knows, what can be done and what can't be done in law. But yeah, so like a really top of his game. If you're in North Carolina, definitely check out Sir Ashley. L's saying hey to Sir Ashley in the house. We've done some collaborations together as well. But yeah, check out Sir Ashley's channel. And if you're in, I think he does North Carolina and South Carolina now, if I'm not mistaken. But yes, thank you, Sir Ashley. And thank you for joining me on the live stream and for the super chat. All right, let me go back up because I passed a whole bunch of people. All right, I'm gonna try to get through some stuff that I don't have videos on, because a lot of this stuff y'all need to scroll through like my videos, because I got a lot of videos on this stuff. Thank you guys. All right, let me see. Okay, I'm gonna go through some of them. I did that one. We did Christina's channel. I did new construction. I think a lot of people are talking about different housing markets, and especially Canada. I think Canada is very similar to the American market right now. I don't know if they've raised interest rates recently, but we've been pretty similar. But for everybody's market, it's really going to be dependent on, number one, did interest rates impact you? So when interest rates went up, were people still buying, or were they just like still like in the market with a lot of competition? So across the country, you have a lot of people doing price reductions. If you're not sure what's happening in your area, then you need to be in contact, especially if you're going to buy a house in the near future. Be in contact with a local agent now to say, okay, how's the market looking? I'm planning on buying in November. Because even in my like little city that I live in, 40% of the homes have price reductions. Remember I told you, like, we started school August 3rd. So as soon as like school started, people started reducing the prices of their home because they hadn't sold them yet. But 40% of the homes have price reductions that were listed. And that's out of 300 listings. So you want to have an idea of how many people are having price reductions, how long are things staying on the market in your area, because real estate is local. Like real estate is very specific, very local. So you want to say, okay, how long are things staying on the market? How many people are putting in price reductions, right? And so you'll have an idea of where that market is probably headed. Because if you have a lot of people reducing their price, they can't sell it. The only reason a seller is going to reduce their price because they're not getting any offers on that property. And that could tell you, okay, if we're getting a lot of, price reductions, then, a lot of buyers are not in this market. And we're probably going to get pretty soon into a more normal market, that 3 months or more of inventory, because these homes that you're seeing now are going to stay on the market. Oba got the answer. She said at Richmond, you can refi as soon as the sale is recorded in the city records. Few weeks, you can contact your city if the sale is recorded. Yes, thank you so much. All righty. All right, I'm under contract with a new build townhouse in Georgia. The seller has not let me lock in my rate. Okay, a seller doesn't lock your rate. The lender locks your rate. So you need to talk to your lender about locking your rate. I've done a full video about locking your rate. You need to have that conversation with your lender, not the seller. All right, let me see. Thank you, everyone. All right, David, contact Sir Ashley. Because you're trying to buy a house in North Carolina, Charlotte. And he has ideas about everything around there. So Sir Ashley, I highly recommend that you reach out to him. And he does a video, I think Sir Ashley can tell me if I'm wrong or right, every week about like different communities and those price points. All right, let me see. I renegotiated price back to the original asking offer after the inspection came back. And then and do the repairs or an as is. Okay, I can't really read that one, I don't think, because maybe you're responding to somebody else. All righty. I answered that question. What is earnest money? Okay, so when you're putting in an offer, okay, you can't just put in an offer and say, hey, I want to offer, say the house is listed for 100,000. I want to offer you 100,000. Here's my contract, right? You have to put some kind of money up showing that you're serious, because if there's no money attached to your offer, if you could walk away at any time and say, bye, I've changed my mind, don't want that house anymore. And then the seller may be prepared to sell. They might have packed up their stuff. They may, they're preparing that you're going to buy their house. So that earnest money is really protection for the seller for a buyer that changes their mind. In a lot of states, that's their only protection. Like they can't sue you, and it's state dependent. But in a lot of states, they can't sue you. They can't do anything. All they can do is keep your earnest money as damages for you backing up from the deal. Like you saying, I changed my mind. I don't want this house. I'm terminating. So that earnest money is essential. Like my sellers, we're not accepting any offers unless there's earnest money attached to it. That's if it's not if it doesn't have earnest money attached to the offer, it's not, in my opinion, a real offer. You still have to present it to your client, the seller. But if you don't have any money attached to it, they can walk away at any time with no penalty. So that earnest money puts it puts some skin in the game, right? For the buyer to say, okay, I'm putting this money up. So if I change my mind, at certain times during this process, I get to keep that money as a seller. Like that's what I get to keep. If so, the most earnest money, I want, when you're making an offer, if there's multiple offers, I want the person with the most earnest money and the highest offer and the most earnest money. All right. Thank you guys. I'm going through the list. Yeah, what's up with my likes? 297 watching, only 12 likes. Come on, people, it's free. All right, please like this video, please. Thank you so much. They could be listening on their phone or something. I don't know. All right, my friendly, see, y'all see this little, I got a new mic, so you should be happy. Like he's the one who like got me to change all of my mics and stuff. Okay, so your friendly audio guy here. Thank you so much. How much should I save for a $400,000 house? Down payment, inspections, closing, and so on. 7%. So 7% of 400,000. I should know that by heart, but I'm not gonna do it. 0.07 of 400. So $28,000. And the reason why I say 7%, because the minimum you can put down is either 3% or 3.5%, right? If you do conventional, 3%. If you do FHA, 3.5%. And then closing costs would probably be another 3% or 3.5%. So I'm putting the highest of each one, 3.5 plus 3.5. And I recommend that if you're buying a house, save the 7%. Now you could, if you're doing down payment assistance, if the seller is going to be contributing to your closing costs, it could be less, but at least you're prepared with that 7%. So that's my recommendation for all first-time home buyers. Try to save 7%. If you know for sure you're getting down payment assistance and that's going to cover, 1% or 2%, then only say 5%. If you know for sure you're in a buyer's market or you're in a market where the seller is going to contribute, then you say, okay, I'll probably get at least 2% from the seller. Go ahead and say 5%. But 7% is a good number that you'll be prepared either way to cover your down payment and your closing costs. All righty, let me see. Okay, so what rate do you get FHA now? Now, everything's different. I recommend 3 rate websites for you to check. One is like the Consumer Finance Bureau that goes by state, okay? And they tell you what people in your state are closing with, like what interest rates they're getting. And then the other one is the Mortgage Reports that has the interest rate. And then can't think of the last one. But in my last 2 videos, definitely the one about mortgage rates, I put exactly those 3 websites that I want you to track your interest rate, because it's going to vary. It's going to vary by state. It's going to vary by credit score. All of that stuff is going to vary. But I would say national average is in the 5s, like this week, mid to higher 5s. So, all right. All right, good question. Oh, 7 o'clock. I'm gonna go through one more time for you guys. My dad is going to gift us money for down payment on FHA loan. Good. And just know that if you're getting gift funds, you can get it from your family, close friends. Very weird. You can get it from friends. I had a lender in Underwriting have the person prove that they were friends by showing them their yearbook and they went to school together. So I don't know, like underwriters be asking for some crazy stuff, but you can have a friend or family member give you the money. Okay, my dad is going to gift us money for down payment. Do we have to have the money in our account for a certain amount of time to avoid having to submit my dad's financial info for the lender? Okay. If you're using a gift from a family member, they want to track those funds. Like it's very specific. They want to see the money coming out of your dad's account, going to your account. You got to fill out a piece of paper and then do that. If, I would say, and don't quote me on this, ask a lender. Perhaps if you do it 3 months or longer, like if you did it 3 months before you were going to apply for your mortgage, maybe they won't go back that far. But I mean, if he's going to gift you the funds, just go through the proper gifting procedure. That's what I would do. Whatever the lender is telling you to do as far as gifting. And I see the Lone Star on here. He is a YouTuber that has a mortgage channel. He probably can answer this question in the chat. So Lone Star, if you're getting this question, answer it. But I thought it has to be, Like they may not go back 6 months or 4 months into your bank statements. But again, if you're using a gift, just document it. Like just document it coming from your parents' account to your account. All the Atlanta people, really quickly. All of the Atlanta, I'm getting a lot of Atlanta specific things. I have a channel called Moving to Atlanta. I want you to go to that channel. I'll be live on that channel on Thursday. So if you're in Georgia, Atlanta, and you have specific questions to that, then please go ahead and like that channel. It's called Living in Atlanta, or Moving to Atlanta, something like that, by Shahida Hill. And you'll be able to find it. I'll be live there on Thursday. Lone Star was answering a question. Part-time and gig jobs, and those that have stopped looking are taking out of the job numbers. So yeah, a lot of people, they're working for Uber, they're working for Lyft, they work when they want to work. So, those things are not being calculated because the job numbers came out as well. And that, that indicated that, there were more jobs than what was expected. All right, I'm going through. Super chats are not processing. I'm sorry. I wish they were, but thank you for letting me know. I don't know why they're not. All right, thank you guys. I have a Houston, Texas agent. We did a live with her recently. Her name is Linda Ballou, Trail Alamos. Linda Ballou. So if you're looking for an agent in Houston, Texas, Linda Ballou, she has a YouTube channel as well. Please check her out. All right, let me see. I'm trying to get any last question. I'm going through quick. The name of my Facebook group is Shahida Hill First Time Home Buyers. But in every video that I do, the Facebook group link is in the description. Every video. We have about 5,000 or so members, but I go in there every day, and answer questions and stuff. So, check it out. Oh, L, man, you on it. You on it. Thank you, L, for the Linda Blue shout out. All right. So Lone Star says 6 months to refinance, but make sure there's not an early payoff penalty. So I've heard two different things. I've heard as soon as you own the house, but he says 6 months. So I would say go and ask your lender just to be sure. All right. If you amend your taxes, will that hinder you? Not necessarily. Basically, what they're looking at is that you don't owe any taxes. And they're also, if you're self-employed, then they will be looking at your taxes much more closely because they're looking at your income, your write-offs, all of that. But you can amend your taxes. But again, they're looking to see if you owe anything and if you've paid off what you owe. Hampton, hello, Shahida. What should you know before purchasing a townhouse? I did a video about, to me, townhouses and condos are very similar. So watch a video that I've done about condo owners beware. So watch that because some of the same things you need to think about will be for that video. And I have not featured any realtors from the North, but I do have a YouTube agent class, like for agents, and we just have a New York agent that just recently joined. So I should have some New York agents. But if you have any agents that you follow on YouTube that are in the North, let me know. And I will look for that. All right, let me see. I'm going through this last one. Okay, it's not that it's not good to refinance. It has to be beneficial. So if you had my mom refinanced when she in 2020. So when interest rates first initially dropped, right? She would have a 5% interest rate and she was able to get a 2.5% interest rate. Yes, it makes total sense to refinance. Her payment went down $500 and she had only been in the house for a year or 2 years. So it made total sense for her to refinance. It depends on how much is your payment dropping, how much are you saving in the life of that loan, how much are you saving in interest when you refinance. Now, if you're going from if you have a 3% interest rate and now interest rates are 5%, it doesn't make sense to refinance. But if you're going to save, typically the rule of thumb is if you're saving at least 1% then, it's typically worth it, but there's still going to be a break-even point. So even if you're saving 1%, it may take you 3 years or so to break even with that saving. So say you're saving $50 a month, but it costs you $7,000 to refinance. Then there's going to be a break-even point until like you made up the money from the refinance, and now all the other months you're saving money because it costs you money to refinance that loan. All righty. Okay, thank you, everyone. Okay, I got to do some more live streams. There's a lot of questions. Okay. Thank you, Lone Star, for answering some of these questions. I need to have Lone Star. Let me say this. My next live, I'm going to have some lenders on. One of them is going to be Lone Star because he is being very helpful in the comments, answering a lot of y'all questions. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Trying to think. Somebody says you need earnest money, down payment, closing, appraisal fee, home inspection payment. Okay, good. All right, I'm still going through. I think we're good, you guys. Only check out my channel. No, only me. No, I would recommend Christina Smallhorn, especially a lot of people are, to me, she does a lot on tiny homes and manufactured homes and those kind of homes and this general real estate content. Sir Ashley out of North Carolina. If you're looking to move to Texas, Houston, Linda Blue. If you're in Atlanta, I have a lot of agents. I'll post them in Atlanta, but Sonia at Cobb County. There's a lot of agents here, but I'm trying to get a network. I want 10 agents in every state to be like part of my little YouTube community. But those are the ones I have offhand. The Lone Star State, he's been in the comments. He has a lender video. Kevin, like I've had a lot of people on my channel as guests. Kevin Jefferson, the People's Lender, he did the Chenoa video. Chenoa was the down payment assistance that didn't have an income limit. So he has a YouTube channel. So there are a lot. I'll try to post more of them and have more of them on, but I'm going to have another video that we can ask all these lenders a lot of questions as guests. But thank you so much. If I didn't answer your question, put in the comments, join my Facebook group. The link for that is in every video that I do. And please watch my last 2 videos. They were mortgage rates and then how to buy a home with no money out of pocket. It is possible. I'm telling you, before the pandemic, people were coming to the table with a lot less money, like maybe $1,000, $2,000, because a lot of times the seller was paying a lot of their closing costs. So, I mean, a lot of them still had to pay their down payment if they weren't doing down payment assistance, but the seller paid, sometimes half of what they needed to have for closing costs. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate it. Yes, I do have agents in the Dallas, well, not Dallas, sorry, DC, Maryland, Virginia. I will post those. I don't want to put inaccurate information right now. But yes, please watch my videos. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Everybody have a great night, and we have to do this again soon.